So in the 1980s, there was a major historical event that's particularly relevant now because it's 25 years later, and I'll talk about that in a second, but it was the bicentennial of the United States Constitution. And that's when I really went from second gear to third or fourth. And I knew that this is what I wanted to do, was to capture America on film and ultimately in music, although it would not become my music per se. But I felt to really experience America, you need a multi-sensorial experience. And so in 1987, I was twice on the corporate side with Merrill Lynch and by the Bicentennial Commission on the United States Constitution, commissioned to create 2 touring multimedia shows on what became the title of this program, Visions of America. So the title and the body of work that I've sought to build took form and structure in 1987. And then it was the 200th anniversary of the Constitution, the US Senate, the US House of Representatives. 1989 was the 200th anniversary of the presidency. So it was a historically rich period of time, and for that reason, I decided for sure I needed all 50 states. I needed all 50 state capitals. I needed every American major city skyline. I needed the small towns to be able to translate what I felt was the central component of American civilization, and that is democracy. So the theme I really moved towards was to how to take all these disparate images and put them into a cohesive theme. And that theme would be, how do you photograph democracy? And you could not photograph it, but you can photograph everything around it, meaning the small towns, the games of the common man, which I would propose is baseball. Obvious, nothing really big here. You know, and a lot of the stuff is obvious. A lot of the images I shoot are sometimes thought, oh, those are cliches. Well, cliches have meaning because they connect to all of us. And that's why my photographs are possibly published so often, almost 100,000 times, is because if you want an image of the Washington Monument or the Statue of Liberty or something that really has high impact, frequently that will be my image. But in terms of what are all those individual images creating, I would say it's a larger portrait or almost a mosaic portrait of democracy. I actually grew up in the Midwest, in St. Louis, right? I like to say on the banks of the Mississippi. And what's great about St. Louis is that I call it the city that divides the East from the West. And actually it's also the most southern city of the North and the most northern city of the South. So I feel like I'm from the belly button of America. So I've got the right resume to kind of sense who the common man is, and that's much of what my passion is capturing us, meaning we the people. So my falling in love with America was first in my youth as a 5-year-old and then a 10-year-old, and I thought there's something here that really fascinates me. You know, seeing all the barns and the tobacco ads on the side of them and the Burma shave ads I can still remember dotting the highway along the way. And then later I became an American history teacher, and that's when it started to move from first gear to second gear. And my fascination with the conceiving of America, the American idea, was really when I started to become fascinated with what you all in Boston are very familiar with, the founding of America in the 1770s, the 1780s, and the 1790s. With the camera, it became a tool. In essence, I consider myself America's photo historian. And rather than telling the story of America with a pen, I tell it with my camera. Because I think particularly now, we're a visual society. And if we can see images, we can better understand the story. And the timing couldn't be more perfect. 2012. We all know that it's a presidential election, and we'll probably all be sick of that later, but it will be with us for some time. And a presidential election is really special because it is the only day, the only event that brings 313 million of us together on a single day. It's when over 100 million of us actually vote. It's the only time that this happens. But 2012 is much more than that. Well, this year is the 225th anniversary of the U.S. Constitution. And many people they get the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence mixed up. The easy way to understand the Constitution is it's the OS for you computer people, or the operating system of democracy. So that's what we're really doing, is to translate the spirit of our operating system into music, into images, and into ideas. And the rest of that history, by the way, it's also the bicentennial of the War of 1812, and we're not celebrating a war, but that is the war that permanently separated us from England. It's also the 150th anniversary of the Civil War. And we're not, again, celebrating that war either, but we are celebrating that permanently united the states into America. To have a true experience of the heart and in the mind, it takes music, it takes images, but also it takes words. And I have spent as much time writing the script for this photo-symphony as I have taking the photographs. And it was an honor for me. Clint Eastwood agreed to do the narration. And so as a photographer of America, it couldn't have been better. For 30 years, this has been my vision of America. But what I'm more interested in is, what is your vision of America? And this is a tremendous opportunity for the youth of America to get involved, to send us your images, your visions of America. Because it's going to be your future and your reflection of that future in the new media, in the new digital era that we're all living in. So it's our hope with these concerts is to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans, as Boston's former president, JFK, would say. Pass it to a new generation. That's our hope.